Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lights Out League Racing, Season 30-3-0, the big one, the milestone, and we're on to race 2 after a storming opener last week in Suzuka, where we're on Div 1 at the moment, and Callum carried on his performance from last season and took the clean sweep. Can he emulate that this week, or will somebody step in, elbow him out of the way, chop him in the gob, and take the crown? Is, of course, a sprint format this week's, which means one-shot quali for both sessions. And we're in Miami at the Miami International Autodrome, or MIA if you want to be American, MIA. Hopefully no one's going to be MIA, and we're going to have everyone finishing. Miami's a very tricky circuit, very slippery, hard on traction, and I'm sure we're going to see one or two silly willies end up in the wall or crash into each other. It happens, and it's a very tumultuous street circuit, and we're just waiting for drivers to get underway to start quali, while they just adjust their setups and their strategies for the sprint. 10 laps followed by 29 laps in the main 50% feature race, which means extra points on offer to go towards those championship challenges. We of course have got the 2 championships in play, with the full Div 1 championship, and then that's split between the 10 quicker drivers and the second bunch of quicker drivers, Platinum being the top tier and Elite being the bottom tier. The constructors are made up of one of each driver from each tier, as we get the countdown to quali. Hello Theo, we've got 1 or 2 watching, as let's jump on and watch this quali, and let's stay on with JR Sam as he opens up. DRS came third last week in Japan. Can he get any near? His qualifying was shocking, and that was a shocking turn 1. Avoid the curbs as much as possible. It's very tricky if you go put your foot down too hard through the S-bends of turns 2 and 3. Approaching turn 4, which is a blind left-hander. Just let off the throttle, no need to brake. The curbs are lethal on this circuit. You can see he's currently running P13, P12. Round turns 7 and 8, hardest braking zone on the calendar, but you want to get a good exit going on to this bendy straight, but the DRS will be open any second now. One of the best overtaking opportunities in the lap. Theo's invalidated, and Portuguese currently leading the way as we approach turn 11. It goes far right as possible. You want to get a good rotation into the corner round the bull penis bell end. Round 13, then the Mickey Mouse chicane, where it's very easy to validate. It'll hit the wall. Navigated well there by Sam. He's gained a lot of positions. You want to get a good exit out of turn 16, where you're going to have a long DRS straight, again, where we're going to see some overtaking opportunities. You can see that Sam's now goes himself up to P8, and it's a very important hairpin. You want to get a good exit again to approach the line. Stay on the right hand side to minimise the track distance to the line, and Portuguese does take pole, the 25.7, first of the season. I see Sam, as we'd watched, has gone P8. Theo, no, you can't switch positions because you are the quicker driver out of the 2. I think I'm going to need some neck glue this week. Lots of chatting. And Portuguese takes pole, 25.7. Gary Hangington joins him with his best quali on the front row. Amadi and Benedict row 2. Brutus and Callum row 3. Callum could have to do a lot of work from P6. Bahanji on debut, P7. Sam Pierre, as we saw, caps look 9th, and Michael Randall for the top 10. Labrat 11th, joined by Wainwright, P12. Adrian Adamako on row 7, with Western Catamise behind them. Theo, Jax and Higosh on debut, all invalidating. Theo says it might be his last race. Just enjoy the race, Theo. That's all I can say. I can't do much about you, to be honest. So drivers after that qualifying session will be just to join, sorting out their fuel and their setups ready for the race. Wainwright says he got a purple middle sector. Kick driver, Sauber. Yeah, positive mindset, Terry's. Exactly. Theo's got a good pace and he doubts himself a lot. Just because you've invalidated during the sprint, you didn't even know what circuit it was half an hour ago, so just put your head down. You never know what happens during the races, and there is the feature race to follow. So drivers sorting out their setups and their fuel loads ready for the sprint race. It's 10 laps. There'll be no pit stops unless somebody's got a bit of damage. Probably go on the medium tyres. It's probably the best strategy to go on. But it's all about making sure you make it around the first couple of corners, around the first lap, and then trying to make as many overtakes as possible. Panji on Davey says he's spun at the chicane. Miami's a very contentious circuit. Some drivers don't mind it. Some drivers hate it. I know when it went on the calendar, quite a lot of drivers gave a big boo. But it's got to go on the calendar sometime. Otherwise, we'll just be doing the same tracks every season. And you never know, you might surprise yourself. My dog's giving me a big bone. And the one in his mouth. I had to give him a dentist stick or something, or whatever it's called, beforehand, so it doesn't get teeth like a crackhead. As we've got the countdown and do the formation lap for the sprint race. And Portuguese has sprint pole and puts a marker down on what he's going to... the pace he's going to show for this week. Gary Hannington for the elite division on the front row and takes sprint pole. Amadi joined by his teammate, both Red Bulls on row 2. They'll be looking to get as big points as possible this week. Brutus Beer P5, he'll be happy with that, with Callum alongside him, and he'll have to get his elbows out to try and work his way. Panji on Davey P7, considering he spun at the chicane, I think he's chatting shit, to be honest, getting P7. And he's alongside Sam, who got P3 last week in Suzuka, as I mentioned. Capslock P9, who got P2 in the elite division. And Michael ran off the top 10. He got pole for the elite, so he'll be a bit gutted with that. Labrat Dan, P11. Ferraris did well last week, and they'll be looking to emulate that as well, but currently P8 and 11. Saubers, P12 and P13. Terry's reckon Portuguese D and Brutus will get this sprint podium. AJ alongside Adamako. Adamako, better qualifying than last week. He's gained a few positions, so getting better on that wheel week by week. He's got Wesker and Katamise, his teammate Katamise behind him. He'll definitely be trying to keep them at bay. Theo, Jax Daniels and Higosh have got a lot of work to do, all invalidating their quali lap. But all eyes will be from the front. As Portuguese has raced round, there's a big gap from Panji. He'll need to minimise that next time. Can't be having big gaps. They'll be sitting on the grid for quite a while we wait for everybody else to come round, as they're all just coming round down the DRS straight down to turn 17 with Higosh, who's replaced Chief of Fire in the McLaren. We've got 19 drivers on the grid out of 20, just missing Cats. In the Visa Carb, which I know Terry Reds is missing his teammate. There were tears. I was just waiting a long time, and I think these front runners will be very disappointed. I was sitting there for a while. I think everyone's just slotting in now. One or two drivers disqualifying in their grid spots. We waited a long while there. But we're finally getting underway for the sprint in Miami. As 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And it's light out. The sprint is underway, and we've got a couple drive-throughs. Theo and Higosh both catching each other out and they're going to have to pit anyway. As Callum already gaining a couple of positions off the line, up to P4 ahead of Benedict, and Brutus lost a couple of positions. Sam's also gained a couple, and big moves from Katamies and Higosh, but he's got to drive through. Michael's the biggest loser, losing out on 8 positions. Half the drivers going on mediums, half on hard, so some not expecting the mediums to last 10 laps as Wainwright gets past Labrat down already up to P10, and Sam, he's coming out of turn 8 onto the straight, has lost many positions down to 17th, then Sam, whether that's contact or his own. Brutus there on the outside of Panji, and brilliant move from the Visa Carb. We've got a yellow flag and it's Theo. Theo's not having a good time at the moment on the sprint. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him retire. He normally does when he's in this position. Portuguese still at the front with Gary and Amadi. So the front 3 remains the same, but Amadi's going to have to fend off Callum. And if anyone can do it, Amadi can. And there's no wing there for him as Panji and Brutus exchange positions again. No DRS until lap 2 as Brutus does the switch back and gets himself back ahead. Jack Daniels, well no, Higosh having to do the pit stop, so he'll come back out of the back. So not the best start for the first race for Lights Out League Racing for him. As Caps Lock getting past Panji, the Alpine driver settling into the race, and we see Brutus hit the wall coming round turn 4. And he's definitely got a damaged wing, and I'm surprised we've not got a VSC. And the Visa Carb, not what Terry Reds wants to see. Haas drivers doing well at the moment at 10th and 11th. AJ all over the back of Adam as Labrat and Benedict are changing places. Wainwright defending hard on the inside. Benedict getting squeezed out, and as a car inside him, Katami just drops behind, so Benedict can on-ghost. Terry reckons Brutus will make it up in the main race. As we're looking and seeing Gary Hannington taking the lead of the race, elite driver, absolutely storming here in Miami. He's already 20% through the sprint race, so very in a good position. And takes the fastest lap as well as Panji and Caps Lock exchange position. Panji back up to P5 now. Mercedes reserving and defending there from Caps Lock. Panji reserving for Luckiest, who's missing again this week as Brutus is in the pits. And the first track limits there for Katamies. Gary having to fend here from Portuguese down the DRS. The front 4 have broken away. And Gary looks like he's got good straight line speed, and nothing that Portuguese can do just there. I'll reckon we might get somebody in for the feature race, so we'll have to see. As AJ taking a look at Adam, they're not close enough to make a move as Katamies still pushing Benedict round the Bull Penis bell end. Hard, was a very difficult place to overtake. Theo's in the pits again. I'll send Benji an invite, and then he should be able to join and hopefully join the quali session for, and he'll fill in for the MTV carb. As we see Alpine ahead, was it, of Caps Lock, trying to make a move on Panji, and he does. Gets better exit coming out of turn 17, gets himself up to P5, and the hard tyres, they might benefit at the end of the race. Wainwright on the outside of turn 1, brilliant move from the Kick Sauber up to P6 on the outside of turn 1, caught Panji off guard. And the elite drivers with an elite performance so far. Gary Hannington running P1 with Caps Lock and Wainwright, Labrat, Dan, Benedict and Katamies all in the top 10. showing up the platinum so far. Who's close enough as AJ. Looking to make a move on Adam. Just before the DRS, he managed to get himself just ahead beforehand. Adam's a sitting duck with Wesker behind as well. Can he defend the DRS? Adam defending the middle track. Good car placement from the Haas. And Wesker has to sit behind for another few corners. As we have a look at Labrak gaining position, it looks like there was contact with Panji, whether that's his own contact or not. As his car was ghosted. Everyone looking like they're making through the Mickey Mouse many a times. Like the Nouvelle chicane in Monaco, where drivers end up losing their left front, hitting the wall. As Benedict on the outside of 17. Panji defending. And it looks like Benedict's gone deep, whether he's bounced off by Panji. Didn't look like he was left enough room, and the Red Bull's down to P16. I don't think he'd be too impressed with that if there was unlawful contact. Michael in the pits. Maybe he's got a bit of contact. And Sam's in the wall. Which way is he? Where is he? Is that around turn 1? Oh, it's not the best race here for Sam, and he's retired on track. That's not a good move. As we see AJ make a move on Katamis. Coming out of turn 8. And Gary Hamilton and Portuguese exchange positions again. This is brilliant racing from the Aston Martin. As Katamis back ahead of AJ. It's a Sauber sandwich between Haas bread. And thankfully we've had no safety car. Sam says he's been bummed at every corner on the track. Yeah, naughty Terry, he's retiring on track. If you've got any grievances, send it into the stewards. As Gary Hamilton's lost out to Portuguese, and Amadi is pushing hard to make a move on the Aston Martin. Are the medium tyres already wearing off? As the hard tyre runners gain positions, Portuguese and Amadina up into P2. Gary Hamilton's going to have to look in his rear view, as I think that's Theo again. Is it? It is Theo. Coming out of turn 3. And he's been lapped now. As Portuguese has broken away and given himself a bit of space between him and Amadi. Out of the DRS zone, so Amadi will have to look at his rear view mirrors instead of forward. AJ all over the back of Katamis. It should be a reasonable overtake, although Katamis is known for having brilliant straight line speed, and he's used probably a lot of his ERS to pull away from the Sauber, with Jax Daniels up to P10. And all over the back of the Sauber, takes a look on the inside. AJ defends. Tries to make a move on Katamis. Katamis holding up AJ. Jax has to slot behind. Yeah, Terry's has been watching well, and Caps Lock is closing in on Callum. So the hard tyres must be the better tyre now. As Gary Hamilton actually trying to make a move here on Amadi, but I think Amadi will have better traction. And he does. Retains that P2. Michael not sticking within these white lines. These medium runners must be struggling. Under 5 seconds now for Caps Lock. It should be enough for Callum to maintain this front 4 position. As Wainwright trying to defend from Higosh. Damage limitation here from the McLaren. As Katamis trying to defend from AJ, but AJ making a brilliant move on the outside turn 1. Struggling with his back end as Jack Daniels. His car's facing the wrong way. Managed to get his car going again, and was that contact or loss of traction? It makes him lose out on a couple of positions, but AJ's got himself ahead of Katamis, who's losing time. I wouldn't be surprised if he let his teammate past here. He'll have better tyres. He should get past anyway with DRS. Gives his teammate a little bit of slipstream as Adamako goes through. And Katamis, he has to be careful here not to make a big move on Wesker, but Wesker goes through. Katamis jumps in his teammate's slipstream, tries to take the inside. Katami's trying to be quite aggressive here. It's hard but fair, and Wesker's got the inside. There's wheel to wheel. As they go through, round to the Mickey Mouse, and Katami's goes ahead. This is too aggressive here by these two. Rivals in Div 2. That was a bit too aggressive. As Callum gets himself up to P3 ahead of Gary. Wesker and Katami's at it again as Katami's goes up to P10. Benedict just behind, up to P12. Yeah, I'm shocked at that they're being so aggressive, to be honest. There's 3 laps on the end, like... Oh, and Wainwright just completely loses traction, like the wrong direction. And he's ended up having to go in the pits. That was weird, as Wesker ahead of Katami's. Katami's losing traction, coming on turn 2. And Katami's, he'll have to succumb this position. His tyres must be wearing thin, and Wesker will be on the better compound. Katami's goes deep out of turn 4, and yeah, there'll be green space for Wesker. Going on some soft tyres here. Theo and Wainwright looking for a faster lap. Yeah, Wainwright. Oh, he's got a lap 8 puncture. So maybe these medium tyres may end up with a puncture. That is interesting information. Not just for the guys on track who have to nurse their tyres, but for the Div 2 boys watching, the medium tyres might not even last to the end. Panjo in the back here of Labrat. We'll get DRS down, straight down to turn 17. You see the front 4 are all out of DRS range now. It should be a quite comfortable end for Portuguese to take the sprint win. And put him in a good mindset for the feature race. Labrat's defending well from Panji, but there'll be another dose of DRS. Will Panji make a move down turn 1? Is he close enough to make it? He has to slot behind. Wise move from the Mercedes reserve. Keep an eye on Katami's, who's still behind Wesker, managing to keep with him. We're on the penultimate lap. Will these medium tyres lap? Will we see anyone else fail? They'll be on these quick corners where they'll struggle to retain traction. Another yellow flag. Can't see who it is though. Oh, it's Theo on his Alpine. Not having a good sprint session here. Michael getting the fastest lap. Num 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 nums. For the running's P16. Wainwright will be trying to be stealing that. Higosh, look at the speed he's got with the DRS. Should make an inside move on Benedict. Side by side through turn 11. Benedict will have the inside of the penis. They're still side by side going through 13. It's going to be brave as we approach. Come on, let me see. And Benedict stayed ahead. That wasn't the best camera angle. Thank you, Codemasters. As Labrat losing out here to Panji with DRS. We're on the final lap of the sprint. As Michael and Wainwright exchange positions. So those soft tyres not giving Wainwright any... Oh, what was that from Wainwright? That was naughty from Wainwright. He shouldn't be sticking his nose there. I don't think Michael will be too impressed. Bad to worse as Higosh back up. Now up to P12. Passing the Red Bull. Interestingly, Amadi. Oh, what's happening here with Adam? Oh no, Adam's lost traction coming out on the final lap. Coming around turns 2 and 3. Lost out a couple of positions to Wesker and Katami's. Not what you want on the final lap. Interesting here is Amadi's got a penalty. So if Callum can get within that, Dusty Reno reckons the stewards room will be very busy. I hope not. I hope not. But we'll see. We'll see. Some things look worse than they are on the stream than they do actually in the race, and some people don't even report stuff. It depends. Callum's tyres wearing thin here, so he's not going to make a move on Amadi. As we see Jackson Benedict at the penis. Jack's just ahead on P13, so But we'll say Portuguese takes sprint win, followed by Amity P2. Callum comes around the final corner and takes that P3 up from P6. Gary Hampton, brilliant drive from the Aston Martin, coming home P4, P1 in, with caps lock P2 in the elite, both in the elites. Panji will come home P6, good run for his debut, with Labrat Dan coming home P7 and P3 in the elite division. AJ coming home P8, good drive from the Sauber, followed by Wesker. After his battle with Katamise, gets bragging rights, comes home P10. Higosh has Katamise to the line, but Higosh takes it. Adamako P11. Katamise drops down on penalties down to P12. Benedict P13 with Jack Daniels P14. Brutus will come home P50. Yeah, that's it. At least you're finished. Just keep it facing forward next time. And used all your tyres. I'm sure you've got some more for the race, mate. Wainwright will come home P16 and Michael P17. Gary Hansen says he bottled that, he locked up. But it was still a fine performance from the Alpine. As Portuguese takes P1 with Amadi P2 and Callum P3. Brilliant drives from all of them. Gary Hansen takes P1, P2 and Labrat P3 in the elite sprint podiums. Panji P6 on debut, good drive from him. AJ P8 from P13 with Wesker gaining 6 positions as well. Higosh from P19 up to P10, great drive on debut as well for the McLarens. Adamako 11th and 12th, both Hasses gaining positions too. Big drop from Benedict 13th, 14th for Jack Daniels, Brutus, Wainwright, Michael with fastest lap 28.1, Theo, and then Sam, the only one to DNF. Well, they said Theo DNF'd. Who knows? But no rain yet. Miami's known for a little bit of drizzle. But we got another one-shot quali. And the sun's out again, so it'll be interesting to see who holds their nerve. Has someone actually just readied up? It looked like someone might have readied up. But I will take a quick slurp in between sessions. As hopefully one or two drivers will just... It should hold the same setup as before. It shouldn't be too long a wait. I've got a nice cup of joe, cup of coffee. Keep me alert. Prepare me for the second race. We've got Div 2, of course, following this sprint format again at around 9 PM UK. So I've got this, and then I've got a nice glass of Rioja. Nice little follow-up there for the Div 2 race. So I'm all prepared. I hope you are all too, as we're going on to the feature 50% race. Very, very soon. Lovely. Now, will Callum try and get that pole position for the race? Or is he going to be all fur coat and no knickers and go for a B-Tech position in for his skill level? There's a lot of people that will want to finish ahead of him and challenge for the championship. And for the championship, we want it too. As we jump back on, we've done a Ferrari already. Let's watch Wainwright, who had that puncher in the sprint race, as we fly down to turn 1. Stay as wide left as possible, and you want to get a good rotation into the corner. Try and stay off the curbs, or don't put on the throttle too much while you're on them, otherwise you will end up in Narnia, which is probably what Jax did. Approaching turn 4, which is blind left-hander, carries as much speed through as possible, a little bit scruffy. Managed to stay within the white lines, those tricky S-bends as we approach turn 7 and 8. Trail brake into turn 8. You want to stay as wide as possible and turn into the apex, as you want to get a good exit coming out with it onto the DRS straight. Or better, it's like a bent penis really. Open up that DRS. We saw plenty of overtakes on the sprint. Currently Panji on pole ahead of Portuguese. That would be a shock. Round turn 11, round the bull penis. Bell end of turn 12. Turn 13 where Wainwright had his issue before. Mickey Mouse chicane. The bollard's still there, thankfully. And then turn 16, where it's one of the most important exits on the circuit. You've got to carry as much speed as you're going to be a sitting duck. DRS open. Approaching top speed. Currently, Portuguese is back on pole with Gary Hamilton, P2 again. Switching with Sam. Oh, wasn't the best braking. It was one of the hard braking zone. Corner. Stay right. Obviously, approach the line. And P6 though. Portuguese pole again, 25.6. Good week here for qualifying for Portuguese, holding his nerve. And Wainwright, considering they're bad, turn 17, not bad at all. So Portuguese on pole with Sam. Better qualifying this time. Joins him on the front row. Gary Hansen gets another pole for the elite with Brutus on the row 2. Callum P5 again with Benedict alongside him. Wainwright P7 as we saw with Panji, who must have lost out on those final couple of corners. P8 with Theo P9. Better qualifying from the Alpine. Joined by Mindcult on P10. Capsock and Labrat row 6 with AJ and Higos row 7. Katamis P15, 16th for Wesker with Benji, who's joined us for the feature race. Jax, Adam, Amadi, all invalidated on qualifying, and will make it a very tricky race from the back. Jack's not having the best qualifying, invalidated on both. For those who want to know the football, Arsenal 1-0 up after 7 minutes, and we've got a dry start to the race. Interesting. I do like a bit of rain. It just mixes it up a bit. Tests the driver's skills. But this track does that anyway. The drivers will be just sorting out their setups for the race, setting up their fuel. Very reasonably lowish wings for this. You want to capitalise on the straights with the 3 DRS zones as well. But there's some very tricky low-speed corners, especially those S-bends on turns 2 and 3. And 5, 6 and 7. 5, 6, 7, 8. My boots good and baby is driving me crazy. Enough of that. Sam says he's doing a 1-stop. I'll be surprised if everyone does a 1-stop. I think a 2-stop. If you look at the tyre wear for the mediums, I think it's going to be a 2-stop on this circuit, and I'm pretty sure we'll may see, if we see a safety car, then those will try and capitalise or make a call. And on their strategy. Sorry, just got a message. Distractions, slap my hand, call me a bitch. So those who are watching, who do you reckon's going to be on the podium? I've got to say, I reckon Portuguese, if he can follow up from his sprint exertions, I think he'll take the win. It'd be interesting to see what Amadi can do from the back. But it's going to be tricky to work his way through the order. I think Callum's going to be on the podium. I don't know if he'll be a 2 or a 3. And maybe I'll go with Terry's. He reckons Brutus is going to be strong. So, but watch out for the likes of Sam. You know, he got his podium last week. Can he do the same again? He's begging Gary Hamilton to not to overtake him. Go on, Gary. Gary, make the overtake, Gary. I think Sam will be sweating like Fred West on ground force. He needs to get a good launch off the line. Otherwise, Gary's going to be over him like a rash. Gary with an absolute fine performance. And the race will be a different kettle of fish, where there will be... I reckon it'll be a 2-stop. Those that are trying to 1-stop will end up with a puncture. I think after we saw after the sprint, if Wainwright got one after lap 7 or 8, then it's going to be absolute carnage. So only 4 drivers starting on the alternate strategy. Then Wainwright, Capslock, Katamis and Wesker, all starting on the hard. Everyone else going for a good launch off the line, starting on the mediums. Miami, of course, a reasonably new circuit. First one we had was in 2022, and at the time it was the 11th different US venue that we've had on the F1 calendar. Of course, we've had Vegas since then. We've got it until at least 2032 at the moment, but I'm pretty sure with all the cash involved, it'll be on longer. Of course, set in the Hard Rock Stadium complex, home of the Miami Dolphins. Those are watching the NFL. It is a regular for me. I'll be up watching the Super Bowl on February the 8th, I think it is, or whenever it is. Quite a tricky track, as I did mention. Plenty of elevation changes, especially through turns 13 and 16. You go over and up and down the exit ramp and under the various flyovers of the Miami Interstate. I wonder if the drivers will be in a state once the race gets underway of this 5.4 kilometre anti-clockwise circuit. 19 corners, 7 to the right, 12 to the left, with the 3 DRS zones. We're approaching the second one now, as they're going down to turn 17. All DRS zones on the straights. 67% chance of a safety car, and the same for a VSC. So there's a high chance we're going to see one. Oh, what did Portuguese just do then? I hope he hasn't damaged his wing. What an absolute clown. Oh my Christ. You love to see it. No rain is shocking, says Terry, which means there's more chance of it happening in Div 2, my friend. Be prepared. Portuguese will jump into his grid box. He won't have to wait as long, although you can see Amadi starting from the rear. Not even at turn 17 yet, so the likes of Portuguese will be waiting a long while. As we see Sam and Gary. Very good qualifying from the Aston Martin. Can he follow that up in the race? Good friends, of course, these two, looking to try and avoid each other off the line. It's very tricky through turns 1, 2 and 3. Callum alongside Benedict. That'll be an interesting approach off the line. Portuguese ready and waiting. It's a 170 metre run down from pole to turn 1 braking point. Not much to defend. What will happen? It's going to be a big one. It's 4 lights, it's 5 lights. We're going to Miami. Miami, and it's lights out, away we go. Good start from Portugueses. Sam having a look on the inside. Gary under threat from Brutus already. Sam had to slot behind. Portuguese, big move from Labrat, already up to P9. As we see Alpine, I think, and it was a Mercedes Michael going wide. Side by side with the Alpine, who's got the inside. Brilliant driving from Caps Lock and Michael. And AJ having a quick look. Wainwright getting ahead of Benedict. And his Aston Martin, Jack Daniels, struggling again at turns 1 and 2. Has ended up out the back. Panji's a big loser, down to P7. Loser! Not a good start again for the Mercedes reserve. Looks like he's got some contacts as Amadi up to P17, making moves on the Hasses. As it looks like Panji struggling as he... I don't know, AJ up P12, getting ahead of Higosh. How's that? There's Adam. Coming out of the penis. He's been bell-ended. And at the back of the order now, behind Jax Daniels. Both drivers not having the best first lap. Don't know if they've got damaged wings. And if so, they'll have to pit. Both are the mediums, so as Katami's Amadi gaining places, Benedict losing out a couple as Callum battling with Wainwright and Benedict. Labrat ahead of Theo. Better start here from the Alpine. And he's got Michael looking behind him. Alpine inside of Labrat. DRS is now active as we approach lap 2. Labrat defending well from the Platinum driver. We'll be looking to try and make some sort of movement. Both Adam and Jax in the pits, as mentioned, going on to hards. Definitely will be on the 2-stop, whether you do a double hard strategy if they've chosen that. Portuguese already broken away a bit from Sam, who's got a big gap from Gary, who's under threat here from Brutus then. Callum got better straight line speed than Brutus, but just has to stop behind from now. A little snap of oversteer from Wainwright as Higosh overtaking the other Sauber. The Sauber's got the inside line on turn 12 and retains P12 as they go through the Mickey Mouse. Everyone just settled down now after that first lap. The bottom two will be hoping for a safety car, an early safety car. Be surprised if one or two pit as Brutus up to P3 now ahead of Gary with the aid of DRS. And this is better show from the Visa Carb. But he'll be under threat of DRS from Gary, who's looked to try and retake the position. Going on the outside, but a good plant of position. Wainwright making moves on Callum here. Callum trying to defend and take the position back, but Wainwright's made it stick as Theo facing the wrong way, coming out of turn 2, and the Alpine driver again just has to reset his head. He's got a damaged end plate, he does, so we'll probably see an early pit stop here from the Alpine. His tyres are hard and his down wing's getting broken even more. He's getting snatched like a KFC hot wing as Sam now takes the lead of the race, and it's a two-car show here at the moment. And Theo's retired from the race on track, and that's brought out of VSC. I hope he hasn't done that on purpose, because if it's brought out of VSC and potential full safety car, naughty. Like I said, the back two would have been hoped for a full safety car. Now what we do hope is nobody gets a drive through. Theo says it wasn't on purpose. I hope so, Theo. I do trust you, but if somebody was reported, you'll have to send your footage in anyway. Like an AJ. So 1 or 2 jumping in the pits then. Armady and AJ. Katame's all taking advantage of the VSC. That'll be half. The pit stop time normally about just under 20 seconds, so that'll be an advantage to these 3 pitting. As VSC has ended, so they haven't lost out too much, but would have gained. And AJ has Amadi for company, and Katame's just behind as we see Gary and Wainwright at the front, just in position. Callum nearly a full second behind, so Wainwright's actually a decent position here on the hard tyres. Brutus trying to defend here. It's a 3-car battle here for P3. Brutus defending hard. How long will we see these guys on the mediums actually run that? VSC would have probably given an extra lap of tyre wear, but we saw Wainwright last till lap 7 or 8. And Brutus will have to try and defend, but he won't be able to defend that much with the DRS. And probably lose out on a couple of positions here, definitely to Gary. Will Wainwright follow through as well? Oh, what happened there? A bit of a glitch there, but Wainwright does get himself ahead of Brutus. Brutus's car's not ghosted anymore, and they'll look to try and retake that. So Gary back up to P3. Amadi with DRS getting ahead of AJ. AJ probably knows it's not his battle, but will try stick with Amadi's DRS and get pulled along by the Red Bull. Gaining loads of time. And it running P7 here, so better showing here from the other Red Bull after his sprint issue. I think it was it with Panji? I think it was with Panji. Sam still leading the race here. And another one, well, it's complete transform from the sprint. Head in the game. And lock up though. That won't help his tyre wear as Wainwright gets ahead of Gary up to P3. Then the Sauber goes a little deep at turn 11. Will put him under threat, but Gary doesn't try and force it. And he's got a big train here behind Wainwright in P3 all the way down to Michael in P9. And so it'll be a big jostle for position. We may see a cluster of cars as the laps unfold. Portuguese retaking the lead of the race. I'm sure we'll see their positions jostle as the race unfolds. As Gary, not quite able to make the move there. Just behind in the McLaren, Higosh up to P10. Capslock and Higosh on different race strategies. As Capslock doing a switchback with Higosh running deep, but then Higosh does the switchback. Good driving from between the McLaren and the Alpine. As we see Labrat and Benedict, the elite drivers side by side through the S-bends. It's a tricky place to go side by side, but Benedict has the advantage at the moment. P7 for the Red Bull. And he's right behind Callum. Callum struggling at the moment to try and make any moves at the moment, stuck in the DRS train. And actually Wainwright's broken out of the DRS train. The Platinum driver doing a brilliant job. Didn't have the best first week in Suzuka, but a brilliant show at the moment. Currently running P3 and on the hard starting strategy. As we see Callum behind, making a move on Brutus, and has made it stick. So McLaren driver means business. Oh, but Wainwright. Oh no, wait. I think it's at the Mickey Mouse. Is it at the Mickey Mouse? Is it the Mickey Mouse? It's at the Mickey Mouse. I did say, but it's still, if it's a VSC again, I'd not probably expect a full safety car for that, but commentator's curse and the Sauber's out. He's running a fine race as well, and I'm pretty sure we'll see some of these medium runners pit. As Portuguese does go in, Sam carries on. As Gary goes in, Callum goes in, oh, almost hits the back of the Aston. Benedict, I think, carries on then. Yeah, everyone, Higosh carrying on. Probably saw his teammate in the pits, doesn't want to get double stacked. Capslock on the alternate strategy, staying on the hards. Up to P4 then. Wesker's carried on. And this may have promoted Armadi up to P7 with the earlier pit stop. Look at this cluster of cars, it's crazy. And AJ with the early pit stop up to P10 now, has come out ahead of Callum, ahead of Brutus, ahead of Labrat, ahead of Michael. Oh, but Labrat's got the drive-through, and he'll be hoping for something to happen later on, as he's going to have to go in the pits at the end of this lap. There's Callum making moves already on AJ, with DRS now activated again, down to turn 11. As we see Gary and Panji. Is Panji in his car? He's been, earlier on he was ghosted. Panji, is he actually online? Or is he buggered off? He's buggered off. Cheers, Panji. Cheers for reserving, mate. Clown. As AJ making moves on the Mercedes then, who's dropping back. Gary making a move here on Armadi. Armadi looking to do a switchback go on the elite driver, but he's got better traction coming out the final corner, and Gary Hannington back up to P7. This is brilliant drive from the Aston Martin. Armadi's no slouch, as we see Dan do it, serving his drive through. These front four yet to do a pit stop, which is Portuguese in a fine position. Gary Hannington at the moment with a net P2 and Armadi net P3, so brilliant drive here from Armadi. And this is a battle many like to see. Armadi and Callum on the track. We've ended up with a similar strategy now. Portuguese, going on the outside of Capslock. Capslock just couldn't turn his car in enough and just make slight contact with the Williams. As we see Brutus on the outside of AJ, the side by side through the bell end. leaving each other plenty of room, and Brutus making a fine move. The brilliant driving there from AJ as well. It's very easy to turn in. Portuguese now getting past Higosh on those older medium tyres with the aid of DRS, up to P3 now for the Williams. And he's moving through the orders. Gary Hannington and Amadi. Amadi trying to make a double move here on the outside of 17. Gary Hannington would have the inside, defending well from the Aston Martin. And Amadi slots behind. Oh, and who was that? Who was that? It was Wesker. Oh, Wesker. One or two might complain about you resetting to track, especially when there's cars approaching, but he's lost traction coming out of turn 17, and Jose down to P15 now. I'm sure in the voice chat there'll be plenty of people laughing. The front three of Sam Benedict and Portuguese now on the back of the Red Bull, trying to make a move before turn 11, but I don't think he'll be able to do it, and he'll be stuck behind the Red Bull. Portuguese will try and gain an advantage over Sam, who's yet to pit. I think I'm under the impression that Sam's trying to do a one-stop, and these VSEs will help that strategy. I'll be very shocked if he can do it at a reasonable pace. Portuguese here absolutely flying as we jump down to Benji, filling in for Katz in the feature race, getting past Katamise. Up to P13, Benji here. Little practice for the Div 2 race as Portuguese gets ahead of Benedict then at 17. Capsock getting ahead of Higosh as well. Both of them yet to pit. Some of these ones are mediums. I'm sure we'll see them pit very soon. Higosh fighting back. Not able to make the move. As Benji and Katamise both getting past Panji's car, who's now pitting. We've got a yellow flag and it's a Sauber. Is it a Sauber? I couldn't see. Yellow flag for somebody. It might have been Brutus. It might have been Brutus actually, because Michael's got ahead of him. Going to turn 4, which is not the best overtaking, as Brutus goes deep as well. Round turn 8. Lucky not to get track limits there, and Michael, Mercedes driver, doing very well in P10 as it currently stands, with everyone not serving the pit stop. Sam in P1, P2 for Portuguese, and Amadi P3 for the elites, with Benedict, Capslock and Higosh the top 3 for the elite drivers. But as I say, there's plenty of time to go. We're up 10 of 29. And Portuguese gained a couple of seconds already on Sam, who's yet to make a pit stop. Michael getting ahead of AJ up to P9, the Mercedes. He's just having a good race actually. He's just minding his own business, and he's working his way up the order. And Adam, the first one to get the official track limits, as we see Brutus in the head of AJ at turn 1 with the aid of DRS. It goes deep round turn 3. AJ taking a quick look, but will stop behind through the first sector. Brutus not liking these hard tyres as he tries to get them to the correct temperature. They've lost 2 drivers at the moment out of the 20, Theo and Wainwright, both crashing out on track. Higosh here sticking with caps lock. Portuguese is just gained another couple of seconds within a lap, so Sam's tyres must be screaming, and I'll be surprised if this one stop is going to work for him. It could cost him a podium position at the time he's losing here. It might be damage limitation just to pit and do a 2-stop, and he's carrying on, so he's persevering. Well, it's probably the wrong call here. And Eddie and Callum stuck in this DRS train at the moment, as we now see Benedict and Caps Lock pit, which would free up the likes of Gary, D, Callum to attack Higosh, and Gary does, up to P3. That's a brilliant overtake from Gary coming out of turn 3. Had better traction coming out of the S-bends, and Higosh, who's on those 11 lap old mediums, will be struggling. I think he'll be an easy overtake for D and potentially Callum as well, going down the straight to turn 11. He will have DRS himself, so it might not be easy as said than done as he approaches Gary again down to turn 11. So very good move from Gary, and there'll be a bit of a cork here, the McLaren, between D and his teammate. To be fair, I think Callum will be appreciative keeping D as close to him as possible, but Higosh now will be a sitting duck and will try not hold up this battle. He knows that D will get past him. He might as well just let his teammate through as well. I like to think that he will do so. Callum's not close enough though to make the overtake. Oh, it's Callum. It looks like he was struggling on braking. Sam now decided to pit after 12 laps on those mediums. Will Higosh release his teammate? Higosh does. It's good team play there. As Portuguese now takes the lead of the race. He's got 8.5 seconds gap on Gary in P2. There will Sam come out as he drifts out the exit. Oh, it almost hits Brutus. Has to slot behind and joins part of the train here for P6, sorry, on those fresh hard tyres. Just need to nurse them for the outlap and not be too hasty as they get up to temperature. Good battle here for P11 then for Benedict and Caps Lock. A yellow flag, and it's a Haas. It's Adam who's struggling on the traction and out of the final couple of corners, and is thankfully near the pit lane. Has to put some fresh tyres, maybe a fresh wing on as well. Not the best of. Sam's got himself past Brutus at turn 11, so not holding back the Ferrari, eyeing up that back-to-back podium, eyeing up that one stopper. It'd be interesting to see if he can actually do it, as Jax, Aston Martin, have a complete different fortune this week than his teammate. He's supposed to be the platinum driver, as Sam gets himself past Michael as well, down to turn 17. Brilliant battle here for the two elites as Higosh pits finally, looking to do a one stop as well. I think that's a big struggle as well. Same as Sam. It'd be interesting to see how they get on near the end of the race. Just under halfway through. It's Benedict just ahead of Caps Lock. This is a brilliant drive between the two elite runners on the similar strategy. Well, pit at a similar time, but on different strategies of tyres. Caps Lock currently pushing Benedict through the S's. And on the medium compounds, we'll look to have better traction as Callum's got himself past Gary. Also got him past. Not easy, he hasn't got himself past Gary. Gary's got the inside of turn 12. Callum will try and hold it out through 13. Oh, and Callum does slot behind Gary. Brave driving from both. Brave driving from Gary here to hold back the championship holder. Caps Lock back ahead here of Benedict as we see Katames and Labrat. Oh, and Katames brakes too late and smashes into the wall, cost him a position to Jax. It looked like he hit it sideways, so he probably doesn't have too much damage. But out-braked himself, probably trying to make an overtake. As we see Gary and Callum battling here over the line to start lap 15. That's these two again. Just swatting each other like flies. And I'm sure Benedict to be all over the back again of Caps Lock with a DRS. Down to turn 1. Caps Lock defending the inside. Will Benedict be able to make the move on the outside? I think he'll have to slot behind. Brilliant driving. And I think they'll both be absolutely sweating. He's sweating like Jonathan Ross attempting a tongue twister. Pick the pickle peppers. That front row, his gegs will be absolutely drenched. Callum here. Led back of Gary's defending absolutely brilliantly, the Elite. This must be one of his favourite tracks here, because he's flying. What this does mean is his Portuguese is so comfortable. Laps Adamaco, unfortunately, but he is learning on the wheel, as he did mention last week. So he's got to just take each week as it comes. He'll find one track where it absolutely clicks. AJ getting himself on the warnings board. It's Callum, I'm looking out on the outside. Gary will try and defend the inside. There's wheel to wheel coming out round turn 18. Gary will have DRS again, and looks like he's got great traction. Callum defends the inside of turn 1. Oh, it's going to be tight. As we see Gary get himself just ahead. But Callum's defending as they go around turn 3. It's a very tricky part. Oh, this is going to be brave as Callum slots behind. He'll be absolutely loving this battle. It's not often he gets this close action on a lap-to-lap basis. Armadi just sitting behind, waiting to pounce. As we see AJ, Jack, Sam Wesker all diving into the pits and then doing their second stop. And going on hards till the end, I'm sure, as Callum made that move stick down with DRS he has. Armadi taking a quick look. And all the while, Sam's closing in, currently running P5. This one stop, if he can jump in the DRS, may be beneficial. Armadi, 12 laps already on these hards. He'll definitely have to pit soon. Not a bad position here for Sam. He doesn't want to run too close though and damage those tyres. There's Gary on the outside. Callum defending the inside of 17. We'll have a better run out the final corner. As we see Benedict and Benji. Benji's joined the party here with Caps Lock, who's just at the back at the moment. It's Gary on the inside of Callum now. Oh, Callum rides the curve a bit too much. We'll open the door here for Gary round turn 3. He'll slot himself just ahead. And again, brilliant driving, forcing the championship holder into mistakes. There's AJ getting himself ahead of Katamise up to 13th. Katamise finally going into the pits after 12 laps on those mediums. As Sam ahead of Armadi. Armadi's tyres are probably not the best at this stage of the race. As he's dropping back, I think I will see Armadi pit and try and do an undercut. As Katamise getting the softs. Katamise is nuts. He's going to have to pit again. Katamise here. As we see Gary lose out in a couple of positions. Side by side here, Sam on the inside of Callum. Brilliant move here from Sam. He's got 6 lap fresher tyres. And out of nowhere, like his helmet says, he's slingshot into P2. And Callum, I think, would not have seen that. Sam trying to break the slipstream and try and break this DRS. Armadi's still in their party, but Callum's managed to stay ahead of Gary. Both Callum and Gary on the same strategy. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Armadi pit here now. We'll try and follow in the DRS as much as possible. Oh, we see pit. Oh, wow. Callum almost sideways trying to pit as Portuguese, him and Gary all go in and go on some fresh tyres. I wouldn't be surprised if it's fresh hards till the end of the race. Michael coming round to the final couple of corners and Portuguese opening in some clean air. Armadi's carried on. Will Sam try and carry on to the end of the race in some open air now? Caps Lock pitting. Whoa, exciting stuff. Jackson's in DRS, so Panji will give him Gets a bit of extra boost down to turn 1. Only running P15. The Haas boys out the rear. As Katame's overtaking Wesker with those fresh softs, which will not last 5 minutes. Callum's come behind his teammate. Will have DRS, but was stuck through this middle sector, the end of this middle sector. Well, we see his teammate let him go and release him. He's got Gary Hannington all over his rear wing here, and this is definitely one of our drivers of the day here, Gary. For the driver in the elite tier, this is an elite performance. There's Callum. Is he close enough to make an overtake on Higosh? He's got DRS off Benji. Amity finally pitting, and Higosh, no, not letting his teammate past. Higosh has got his own battle to run, I guess. As we finally see Michael Brutus and following Amity into the pits. Callum still behind his teammate. His teammate's not letting past him. Gary's got himself a track limits. He'll be hoping that Gary forces Callum into a mistake. Oh, brave move from Gary. I think Benji's let him pass, not to impede the reserve driver from Div 2 on that battle. He'll be very thankful for that as Labrat Dan's in the pits. Fastest lap on those soft tyres from Katame's 28.8. As I say, he'll have to pit again. Callum now getting past his teammate. Up to P4 now with a McLaren. Can it's Benedict potentially doing a one-stopper as well? Currently running P3. He's got 3 seconds with Callum behind and the train behind him. If he can get to the end, he could get a good P6. Which is not bad at all. But be interesting to see how the likes of him and Sam get on. Amadi thanking Benji for letting him past. Red Bull driving up to P7. The Red Bull having an absolute fine performance as well as the McLarens. Higosh as well, potentially looking to try and nurse his tyres to the end. Already done 6 laps on them. He's got Gary Hannington all over the back of him. Gary looking to try and make a move at turn 4. It's going to be brave. Oh, and did Higosh get squeezed? It'll be interesting to see the onboards. Higosh down to P7 as Panji's car pitting. Gary Huntington's been very, very aggressive and very brave, and he's got 1.5 seconds now to gain on Callum. This Callum is Callum is gaining here on Benedict. He's of course got 6 up pressure tyres and a bit of extra speed. Katzlock on his elite colleague up to P11 with the aid of DRS. Battle with he's obviously pit, so that battle with Benedict has succumbed a little bit. But loss of traction there from AJ. He's not been able to stick to Katzlock and have that DRS. So I said it's imperative you get a good traction out of turn 16 for this straight. Amadi sticking with Benji's pitting. I'll release the likes of Michael and Brutus. Amadi will try and get past Gary. Again, it's no easy feat. Callum closing in on Benedict with DRS. Again on different race strategies. Benedict will try and hold him up as much as possible to help his teammate. As he gets run down to turn 11, will Callum be able to make a move? Benedict defends the inside. Callum will try and do a switchback, but Benedict's defending the inside of the Bowlby penis. And Callum will have to stick behind, which will hold him up and allow Gary and Amadi to close in a few tenths. Callum will have DRS and potentially make the overtake, but you can see Gary and Amadi just behind. Portuguese has caught up to Sam now. Try and take the lead of the race. Callum does make that move up to P3. Amadi's got past Gary, and I'm sure we'll see very soon Portuguese overtake Sam. 5 lap fresher tyres. It's not going to be easy though. We've got 8 laps including this one to go. Still, like it feels like it hasn't felt like it's flown by, but it felt like it has flown by. Feels like I've been racing for ages. Benji, fresh tyres, fresh mediums. Dispatches the Aston Martin Jacks. Easy meet. Jax is that much easy meat, he should be on Pornhub. Portuguese retakes the lead of the race with DRS ahead of the Ferrari, as Wesker ahead of Katamise. Those soft tyres as Katamise drifting round the final couple of corners will not last 5 minutes. He'll definitely get a puncture and we'll have to pit. I won't be surprised if he jumps on some fresh softs to go for another faster lap. And Wesker carries on through as Amadi, I think his teammate probably let him go. And we'll try and hold up Gary. This is perfect team play for the Red Bulls. Benedict will he have a dose of DRS to try and hold off Gary? And Gary, of course, he doesn't have DRS, so Gary should try and close in right down to the corner of 17. But he hasn't. He's got to wait. There's brilliant driving here. Of course, there's a battle for the Elite Championship. That's Gary with DRS down to turn 1 on the outside. And it can't do anything about it. Another track limits penalty for Adam. And it will stay with Gary as much as possible with. So as it stands, lap 23 at 29, Portuguese, Sam and Callum are your podium sitters for the Platinum Championship. And then we've got Gary, Benedict and Higosh. Michael on those fresher tyres, pulling along Brutus with him. We'll try and challenge for that final podium position with the McLaren. How will Benedict survive on those hard tyres as well? As Katamise does pit as well, and I think, like I said, he'll go some fresh softs. Those fresh mediums, he doesn't have softs. But we'll try and get that fresher, fastest lap that he's already got. Interesting here is Amadi closing in on Callum. Amadi will want to try and claim that final podium position and those close that gap on Callum for that championship. Amadi would have shaken his hand, would have given a good fair play and congratulated Callum on his championship last season, but he'll definitely want to try and retake it back. A 4-time championship holder here, Amadi. But it's not going to be easy. Callum will defend with all his might. Michael has closed that gap now to Higosh for that P7 spot. Higosh has been on these tyres twice as long as Michael and Brutus closing in. We'll have DRS down to turn 11. Will he be close enough to make a move? I don't think so on this lap. Both McLaren's under threat now. Amadi can smell what Callum had for breakfast. He's run his gearbox through the Mickey Mouse. That DRS will be an absolute delight. And this is a fine performance from the Red Bull from the back of the grid. Pit early under the first VSC and give him a massive undercut as Michael has managed to make the overtake too on the McLaren up to P7. McLaren tried to defend at the corner but just couldn't quite do it. And lost of traction out turn 18, which will open the door for Brutus. Both will have DRS down to turn 1. Brutus on the outside. The Platinum drivers side by side with the McLaren, but will have better line out of the opening corner. And Higos losing out 2 positions in the space of 4 corners. And we'll just try and nurse these tyres to the end of the lap. Benedict is already 2.5 seconds behind Gary now. We'll have to look in his rear view for Michael. He's now under 4 seconds, absolutely flying, him and Brutus. Amadi again, not able to make the move yet. Might wait till the end of the race. Sam quite comfortable if he can just... He probably knows that he can't win this race, but he's got a good 9.5 seconds to Callum, and if Amadi and him are battling, then 28.4 for Katami's fastest lap. If Callum and Amadi are battling, then Callum won't be able to gain as much as he would like. So yeah, Sam could take P2 here, which would be good going. Italian hand gesture for Adamacco, speeding in the pit lane. Hasn't been able to find that brake pedal. But we'll go on to some fresh softs and try and maybe try and take that fastest lap away from Katami's into team battle. Brutus, Visa Carb. Him and Michael now just over 3 seconds behind Benedict, who's got 4 laps including this one to try and claim that P6. Gary Hunton, fine race, will take if he can keep it on the track. Has those 3 second penalty to keep an eye on though, but if he can stay within that, out of that, then he'll take that race win for the Elite Driver Championship. Amadi still struggling to overtake Callum here for that final podium position. Will he have DRS to take? It is close enough. He's about 4 tenths behind. This should be an overtake as Katami's in the pit. Oh, is Katami seeing what Adam's doing? Oh, the side by side. Going through 17. Slight loss of traction through 17-18 for Callum. He'll have DRS down to turn 1, but Amadi up to the podium position, and Callum will have to slot behind. There's 3 laps to go. It's looking a little bit overcast as Katami's comes out the pit. He won't interfere with that battle as he's just been lapped. Slow start to the season for both Haas drivers. I'm sure it'll improve as the season unfolds. Just over 2 seconds now. Michael and Brutus closing in on Benedict. It's an interesting battle here for P3. 3 laps to go, including this one. Portuguese getting a penalty under no pressure. It should be okay with Sam having to nurse his tyres. But a silly mistake there from the Portuguese could cost him. We'll have to be careful. Brutus. Just closing in on Michael. 1.5 seconds behind Benedict. He's going to be struggling here. The Red Bull with 2 laps to go. Oh, I'm getting a bit hoarse, and not because I've got a massive dick, but because I'm talking like my throat is hurting, so I've had to take a quick sip. It's going to be a 3-car battle here for P6 by the looks of it, as we come to the end of the lap. We're on the penultimate end of the race, the penultimate lap. As Callum not able to make a move on Amadi as yet. This has been a brilliant strategy with the VSCs from Amadi to get himself from the back of the grid onto the podium position. This obviously isn't one of Callum's tracks. Normally he carves everyone like a Christmas turkey, but he's not had it all his own way. There's Michael now caught up to Benedict. These last couple of laps are going to be very tough for the Red Bull, and we'll try and hold off Michael and Brutus. And it could get himself on the podium. At the moment he's on P2 for the elite. As we watch behind Benji on those reasonably fresher mediums. Get himself ahead of AJ. Now turn 11. But we've got a battle here for P3 and a battle here for P6. As Portuguese starts the penultimate lap, the final lap. Sam needs to be careful not to get any track limits, and he can nurse his tyres to the end, and I'll be very, very surprised and congratulate him on doing a one-stop. Amadi ahead of Callum. Has Callum got enough to make a move? This is probably one of the 2 chances that he can do it. Amadi with a better launch out of turn 8. Amadi's still ahead. We'll keep an eye here as Brutus all over the rear of Michael, all over the rear of Benedict. Benedict's nothing he can do, and it's going to be a double overtake. Benedict knows he's probably just going to have to let him go. He tries to defend the inside of Brutus. This is brave. This is brave from Benedict on the inside of the penis. What will Brutus do? He's going to get squeezed. He's going to have to pull out Brutus here. He's got a brilliant pull-out game. Is Callum going to make a move? I don't think he's close enough to make a move. As Portuguese takes the win at Miami. Brilliant drive from the Williams. And his first race win of the season. Brilliant drive from Sam, who comes home P2 with the one-stopper. Amadi takes P3, holding off the McLaren of P4 of the McLaren driver. Gary Hannington, P1 and the elite, and P5 with Michael coming home P6. Brilliant overtake on the final as Benedict comes home P7, holds off Brutus to the line P8. Higosh P9 on debut. Brilliant points for the McLaren. Capslock coming home P10. What could have been for him if he had a similar strategy to Benedict. Benji coming home P11, reserving for Cats with AJ P12, Jax Daniels P13, Labrat Dan P14. Both Haas drivers, Ben Lapt will come home 17th and 18th, and Wesker coming round turn 17th for the final time. I don't think Sam was happy with his one stop. Could have been a lot quicker as Wesker crosses the line. And final driver to do so. Congratulating as we just go through the order. Yeah, big congratulations to Portuguese. A fine drive. He showed a brilliant performance in the sprint and does it again in the race. Takes the race win. Fast lap goes to Katamise. Driver's A given to the game by Amadi with the most overtakes, of course, starting from the rear. Oh, what happened then? What am I doing? There we go. Almost shot myself. Portuguese coming home P1, Sam coming home P2 on the one stop, and Amadi from back of the grid taking that final podium position. Callum coming home P4, gaining a position. Gary Hannington taking P5 and P1 in the elite, with Michael taking P2 and Benedict P3, 6 and 7 respectively. Brutus coming home P8, 9th for Higosh on debut, and 10th for Capstock. Benji 11th, 12th for AJ, Jax 13th, 14th for Labrat Dan, Wesker P15th, 16th for Panji if he was in his car. 28.7, fastest lap for Katami's Adamako, coming home 18th, and then Wainwright and Theo both DNFing. We're going to have to go off straight away because we've got the Div 2 race coming on straight after. Join us next week as we are doing Silverstone. Race 3, back to Silverstone. Amadi took the win last time in Miami. This time it was Portuguese who will take it next week. Thank you for joining us. That was eventful as we head over to Div 2. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alex. Peace out.